Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to be talking about the Chagos Islands, the deal that was probably the stupidest thing that this country's ever done, and see what's happening with it. But as always, please like the video if you like it, subscribe to see more, and feel free to comment if you've got any opinions on the matter. So, getting straight into it, let's talk about these Chagos Islands. So, firstly, what are the Chagos Islands? Well, if we look at a world map, so this is the Southern Hemisphere, Indian Ocean. If you keep scrolling in, you see this thing called the British Indian Ocean Territory. And here, the Chagos Archipelago. It's a bunch of islands, okay? And that is what we're talking about. And just to bring it up whilst we've got the map open, yes, so far away. When we talk about Mauritius, which is another country, that is all the way over here. So, that's Mauritius. It's off the coast of Madagascar. So when we talk about the Chagos Islands, we're all the way over here. When we talk about Mauritius, we're all the way over here. So, firstly then, so the Chagos Islands, let me get this up. Chagos Islands are a bunch of islands which, as you'll see on here in a second, the British owned. Okay, in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and it currently has a US-UK Navy base called Diego Garcia, which, as you can imagine, is quite important with that region of the world because, well, if you want to stop for, fuel or something somewhere, it's nice to have a base. And given the fact that, China's over here, over here, it's good to have a presence somewhat in this area. So that's what the Chagos Islands are. So, quick summary. The French ceded Mauritius and its dependencies, which included the Chagos, to the United Kingdom in 1814. Okay, so since 1814, the British has owned these islands with Mauritius, as in they owned Mauritius too. In 1965, so well over 100 years of the British owning it, they separated them from Mauritius to create the British Indian Ocean Territory, giving Mauritius $3 million in compensation. They said it's inadequate and coercive. So £3 million back in 1965, just for those who want to find out, that's worth about 75 million today. Okay, so we're not talking about pocket change. We're saying that is quite a lot. Right, so 75 million we gave them to those islands. In 1966, the UK grants the US rights to establish a joint military base, Diego Garcia, the largest islands for strategic operations. Great. The UK then moves people from the islands, putting them in Mauritius and the Seychelles, don't know where they are, to enable the base to be built. They didn't like it, but hey, there you go. Now, more modern day. So the International Court of Justice, ICJ, issues an advisory opinion stating that the 1965 detachment violated the right to self-determination and that Mauritius's decolonization was not lawfully completed in 1968. The UK continued administration of the islands as unlawful. The court urges the UK to end its administration as rapidly as possible. Now, something just to mention about the International Court of Justice, it's a voluntary court, as in you can sign up to be a part of it. And again, as you saw there, its rulings are advisory. They have no authority to actually enforce their jurisdictions. I think International Court of Justice, they're the ones who've been giving out arrest warrants for like Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu. They haven't got their own army. They haven't got their own strike force to go pick up people, unlike Trump. So it's advisory. Keep that in mind. If you don't like it, you don't have to deal with it. Okay. 2019. The UN General Assembly, again, the UN just bunch of wankers, adopts a resolution by a large majority endorsing the ICJ opinion and calling on the UK to withdraw its administration within 6 months and return the islands to Mauritius. Now, for those that don't pay attention to the UN, it's corrupt as crap, okay? I mean, what was it? Ever since Gaza attacked Israel, the UN have put in loads of sort of rulings and things against Israel, and kind of trying to force ceasefires on Muslim holy days, but on Jewish holy days, they don't seem to do anything. So, yeah, the UN can F right off. Okay. Now, because of that then, the Tory government, James Cleverly, let's get him up, He was the people that actually started initiating these talks with Mauritius. So, firstly, I know Labour have made a dog's dinner of everything, but it's the Tories that actually started this. And the top comment there: why on earth would you have initiated talks for a non-binding legal opinion? Makes absolute sense. So, the Tories started it. Now, now in May 2025, the Labour government actually signed a deal. Now, what the deal is, in a nutshell, is we would give the Chagos not back to them. We'd give it to Mauritius, and we'd lease it from them for 99 years. Okay. Now, in this comment, it says that the present value is about 3.4 billion over the period. So they're saying over 99 years, it's going to cost 3.4 billion. Well, that's for the crap, because what we've actually found out, if I've got the right one, yep. So 3.4 billion, the government came up to that figure, suggesting that's the net present value of today's rates, of the 2026 values. Okay. Other people are actually saying it's going to be 35.7 billion. And the reason for that is it's an annual £120 million we pay, which is linked to inflation from the 14th year. So after 14 years, it then linked to inflation. Increases to around 800 million a year in the last few years of the deal. But 800 million 95 years from now may not be worth the same as 800 million today. So, yeah, over a 99-year period, 35 billion does sound like a lot, and it is a stupid amount. But let's hope inflation has soared through and it's not actually worth that much. So, that's that. Now, another thing to mention as well whilst we're looking here is in the negotiation team of the Mauritius government is the man who was actually the best man at Keir Starmer's wedding. So, let's just put that into context. Mauritius is a country that is pretty much under the heel of China. Okay? You know, those lovely communists over there. Keir Starmer, massive communist, is a Trotskyist, and I mentioned this in previous videos, I believe, was actually part of the communist movement and part of the Labour lawyers, which are all a bunch of socialists. Okay, Marxist through and through. Right. His best matey, is on the other side of the table, negotiating for. Now he's British, obviously. He's negotiating against the interest of Great Britain. If it smells like shit, it probably is shit. So that's that. As of January, the treaty awaits full ratification and implementation in the UK domestic law via penal legislation. Vocal political commitment stands. Right. That's it in a nutshell. Okay. So, it's a stupid deal. It makes absolutely no sense. It's land that the British territories have owned for, well, quite a long time. It was administration. Mauritius and the Chagos Islands were joined. We then separated them, like separated a department at work. Doesn't mean that the previous department gets to claim, I know, the bonuses and profits from the other department for later on. And that's it. So that was going through, steamrolling. Everyone said, oh, it's absolutely stupid. Keir Starmer was like, well, actually, it's international law. We're all about international law. But then, something wonderful happened. So, back in last year, I don't know if you guys can remember, Trump met with Starmer, and Starmer put that really flamboyant act on, act like the proper queer, and then apparently, yes, Trump heard about the deal, and he's like, oh no, yeah, it's fine. It sounds like we're having a good deal, and then in Davos last week, Trump made a comment. I can't find it for now, where he basically says like, oh, they're leasing it, they'll get some money for it, it's fine. He clearly hadn't been told that the lease was, we were leasing it from them. Trump thought, I imagine, they were leasing it from us. As in, we'll give it back to them, but we will get some money for it and we keep the military base. That's probably what Trump thought. Then it turns out, Trump was told the truth. This is a post from Truth Social, reposted onto X, from President Trump, saying shockingly, our brilliant, notice the inverted commas there, obviously for sarcasm, NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a vital US military base, to Mauritius, and to do so for no reason whatsoever. There is no doubt that China and Russia have noticed this act of total weakness. These are international powers that only recognise strength, which is why the United States of America, under my leadership, is now, after only 1 year, respected like never before. The UK giving away extremely important land is an act of capitals, great stupidity, and there's another long line of national security reasons why Greenland has to be acquired. Denmark and it's okay, well, yeah, that kind of goes off the point, but sort of essentially, Trump's saying there, if NATO or Europe, UK, are willing to give away a vital military base for no reason, then Trump basically saying, well, we're going to have to put up our own jock straps and, police the world ourselves, or, sort out our own defense. So that is what happened like last week. So because of that, then what's happened now is, let me just go to the top of this for you. Trump's just saying it's stupid. Now, because of that, on Monday, so that'll be tomorrow at the time of this hearing, the bill was meant to go back to the Lords. So the Lords inflicted 4 defeats on the government over the bill, demanding stopping the payments to Mauritius, a referendum costings, and a parliamentary veto. Basically, this is stupid, don't do it. And now, because of Trump's response, they've now had to pull it from the House of Lords, because it turns out, in 1966, a treaty was made with the USA that basically said the UK couldn't do anything with the actual base and things without the US's say-so. So you'd think Starmer, this man of international law, who, I'll have to follow the rules, you think he'd check that first, but no. So because he hasn't got the USA say-so, he's made this deal with Mauritius, which would have wiped out their national debt and actually reduced their income tax, because as I showed you, it's that tiny little island who's going to get 35 billion from us. And yeah, and they didn't check with the US. So now Trump's going to be like, no, I'm not doing this, because the problem is, I think I read somewhere, don't quote me on this, but basically, because the land will be owned by Mauritius, any time we wanted to kind of do something quite important, you have to get like Mauritius to say so, which obviously isn't going to work for a Navy base. And again, because Mauritius is underneath, the Chinese heel, they would basically just be feeding all this back to China anyway. They probably put a listening post on the other stations and just literally monitor everything. So, yeah. At the end of the day, guys, that is a summary of the Chagos Islands. Nice and fun, I know. But essentially, this was the stupidest thing ever to kind of show up. And at the time, the UK government is doing a million stupid things. So the fact this isn't going through at the moment is absolutely fantastic news. And God bless President Trump. I know that might trigger a few people, but honestly, in this regard, fuck you. And let's hope that Keir Starmer losing this much face, making a deal, now having to backtrack on it, hopefully it gets him out of power some point soon, because this guy's an absolute cretin. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's taught you a bit more about the Chagos Islands and why that's important, because at the end of the day, if you bury your heads in the sand and you're not paying attention to what's happening around you and what this government's doing, then next time you bitch and moan that there's not enough public services, next time you bitch and moan that you can't do something because there's lack of availability, look what the government's doing. If they want to give away our land, millions, billions of pounds, and all the other crap they're doing, that will have an effect on your life. So pay attention and see what's going on. But guys, thank you very much for this time. Please like the video, do subscribe to see more. And hey, anything I said today that you want to chat about, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.